Hare Krishna everyone, welcome all the devotees. So let us start with prayers. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Vracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shnitai Gaurang ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Hari Bol. So Hare Krishna everyone, welcome all of you. A quick recap, yesterday we discussed about how tortoise example, by that we understood how to control our senses. When there is a need, then only we should use our senses. And what is the need? Absolute need is when there is some service related to Lord Krishna and you require your senses to be used. So we should use our senses in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, for our own sense gratification, when we engage our senses, then what will happen in the name of happiness? Just like you saw this video, rat race, person is chasing after happiness, but he's getting everything but not getting happiness only. Everything he achieved, but whatever he desired he got, but ultimately he did not get happiness. So by sense gratification, we understood from Bhagavad Gita that never ever we can get happiness. Therefore, you will see in all kinds of literature, whether you go into Christianity or Bible, Quran, or our Bhagavad Gita, in Vedas also, either it is Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, everywhere it is described that we should control our senses. We should not unrestrictedly indulge into sense gratification, because sense gratification is not our need. Actually, we are looking after for enjoyment, but not knowing how to enjoy. So we think that by gratifying our senses, only we can enjoy. That's what, because since time immemorial, since long association with matter, we identify ourselves with this material body by default. By default, we think that I'm this body. So sense gratification gives us kind of, it's like in this happiness video, saw person, that cartoon, he entered a capsule, then he went high. It was just like he took a drug. So for momentarily you'll get happiness. So he started flying, kind of hallucination. It depicts like when you take drugs and all, so you hallucinate. So you feel like you are enjoying, but it will remain for 1.5 hours or 2 hours like that. But again you will fall down, and then again you will run for something else. So very nicely this video was depicting how we all are looking for happiness. For happiness, we are going to movies, we are going to clubs, and doing all kinds of permutation combination to become happy. But ultimately, we are defeated. We are not getting happy by sense gratification, because sense gratification frustrates us. आप चाहे तो try कर सकते हैं. You all can try this. This is not anything mythology or just philosophy I am speaking. Anybody can try that. Sense gratification आप खूब कर लो. जो आपको मन कर रहा है मुझे ये करना चाहिए तब मैं खुश हो जाऊंगा, आप उसको try कर लो चाहे तो. You can try all the ways and means to become happy, but at the end you will see that you are becoming frustrated, because sense gratification से आनंद नहीं मिलता. Just basic need. As a need you should take it, not as a greed. So then happiness how we'll get? That is explained here. Everywhere by controlling our senses we become happy. But we are taught that by becoming reckless, by losing our senses, we become happy. That is the teaching which we have learned from very beginning, that if you want to become happy, you gratify your senses. You become uncontrolled animal. जितना आप सेंस ग्रेटिफाई कर सकते हो उतना करो, उतना आपको आनंद मिलेगी. ये हमें सिखाया गया. But you personally you can do it. Those who have done it, they became frustrated, they committed suicide, or they went to depression. Then they finally went to psychiatrist for counseling. You also can try. If you don't believe in the instruction of Bhagavad Gita and you think that this is all some kind of philosophy, you also can try by gratifying with your senses with fullest extent, and you can realize also. But that is second class intelligence. First class intelligence, that he understands by hearing. He will hear and understand. Second class, he will experience, then he'll understand. Third class intelligent person, he will hear, not understand. He will experience, not understand. Again, he will indulge. That is third class intelligence. So here Krishna is saying that we should control our senses, regulate our senses. So now I'll share today's verse where it is very interesting discussion of today. Krishna is very nicely putting forth some nice understanding about sense control key, how to control the senses. Like yesterday, we understood that the only way to control our senses is to develop higher taste. Artificially अगर आप sense control करना चाहें तो नहीं कर सकते. It is like a person who is diseased and he has restrained himself by restricting in restricting himself by indulging into sense gratification. He has restricted, but actually that is not real control. That is restriction. We should not restrict. We should control. Naturally, that should come. So, how to achieve that state? That state can only be achieved when you experience higher taste. Otherwise, artificially you try to abstain yourself. Artificially you try to suppress yourself. One day it will burst out and you will indulge, you will go wild and you will indulge into all kinds of sense gratification. So artificially you should not suppress. Yesterday I was talking, after the class I received one message from a student and he's from Kadapur itself. So he shared one message, Prabhuji himself. I did not ask anything, but he said, Prabhuji, the kind of influence I have got after chanting Hare Krishna is marvelous. I can read also 1 minute. If I can find. One minute. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have been chanting Hare Krishna mantra all these days. I can't believe that I have lost my interest into non-veg food. It's so amazing. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So this was his, just after the class yesterday only, he shared this message, his experience related to chanting. Just by chanting, naturally he developed this desire that I should not indulge into meat eating. And naturally it came to him that, yaar ab band karna. No, I will not indulge. He's otherwise every week, 3-4 times he has to. But now see, by chanting Hare Krishna, naturally that feeling is coming. Yaar ab mujhe indulge nahi hona chahiye. This is all less lower taste. I should indulge into higher taste. And he got the higher taste, so he is now no more interested into all these things. So this is higher taste. You chant Hare Krishna, automatically you will develop higher taste, and then artificial suppression की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी. There will be no need to artificially suppress. तो मैं हमेशा आपको यही बोलूंगा कि कोई भी हैबिट से आप अगर अपने आप को रिफ्रेन करना चाहते हैं तो आर्टिफिशियल अप्रोच मत लीजिए, मैकेनिकल अप्रोच बिल्कुल मत लीजिए. आप फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाएंगे और आप सुसाइडल थॉट्स भी आने लगते हैं. फिर जब हम ज्यादा फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाते हैं, चीजों को लेकर हारने लग जाते हैं और हमें लगता है कि यार मैं इसको अचीव नहीं कर पाऊंगा, नाउ आई एम गुड फॉर नथिंग, सो देन ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ थॉट्स कम्स. आई विल ऑलवेज सजेस्ट यू दैट कोई भी आपके लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम हो, कोई भी बैड हैबिट से जिससे आप परेशान हो, तो उससे बाहर निकलने का एक ही तरीका है, आप अपनी कॉन्शियसनेस को रेज कर दीजिए ना. यू डेवलप हायर टेस्ट and higher taste can be achieved by chanting Hare Krishna. You start chanting nicely Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Very simple but very powerful. We cannot understand right now because एक बच्चा उसको करोड़ रुपए दे दो समझेगा नहीं, उसको लगेगा ये तो बेकार है, उसको टॉफी ही अच्छा लगता है, वो उसको मिट्टी खाना ही अच्छा लगेगा. उसको गुलाब जामुन दे दो, वो चिल्लाएगा अरे नहीं मुझे टॉफी मिट्टी खाना है. So we are also like that innocent, ignorant boy. We don't know what is the taste in chanting Hare Krishna. Haridas Thakur, who is a Muslim, who when he started chanting Hare Krishna, even though he was caned into 22 market, 22 बाजार उनको कोड़ों से मारा गया, फिर भी वो चैंटिंग हरे कृष्णा नहीं छोड़ रहे हैं. बताओ, क्योंकि उसमें उनका टेस्ट डेवलप हो गया. And therefore he did not leave that, even though he was ready to be beaten into 22 markets, 22 बाजार में. आज हम लोगों को घर वाले थोड़ा सा मना कर देते हैं, हम स्टॉप कर देते हैं. वो तो 22 बाजार उनको कोड़ों से मारा गया, फिर भी उन्होंने नहीं छोड़ा, क्योंकि उनको हायर टेस्ट मिला. तो टेस्ट है, अवेलेबल है, लेकिन हम लोग क्या भी उसको अच्छे से फॉलो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. जिस तरीके से स्वीट बहुत टेस्टी है, लेकिन एक जॉन्डिस पेशेंट को स्वीट कड़वा लगता है ना, बहुत कड़वा लगता है जॉन्डिस पेशेंट को, उसको अच्छा नहीं लगता ना. लेकिन स्वीट तो बहुत टेस्टी है, तो क्या करे वो, छोड़ दे टेस्ट स्वीट खाना? नहीं, स्वीट खाते रहे, तो क्या होगा, स्वीट खाने से ही उसका जो प्रॉब्लम है सॉल्व हो जाएगा. ऑल द प्रॉब्लम्स व्हाट ही हैज गॉट of jaundice is the have only solution. Jaundice can be only treated by taking sweets, sugar candy is the only medicine for the jaundice. So a person who is suffering from jaundice, he is suggested by the doctor that you take sugar candy. So when he goes on taking sugar candy, slowly he will become purified, he will become recovered and recuperated, and one day he will achieve his natural state. He will be healthy. Once he is healthy, then when he consumes that sugar candy, he will enjoy. He will get the sweet taste. But otherwise, that same sugar candy, when he was consuming, he was getting a bitter taste because he was diseased. Not that sugar candy is bitter. Sugar candy is always sweet, but because of the diseased condition of that person, that patient, he was not able to release that. But the prescription is what? Prescription is go on taking the sugar candy. Don't stop taking sugar candy. The moment you stop, then your disease will increase more. It will go high. So that's the prescription. If he goes on taking the sugar candy, one day he'll become perfectly recuperated and he will achieve a healthy state. And then when he takes now sugar candy, he can enjoy that. In the same way, we are also now into jaundice state. We are diseased now. What is the disease? Sense gratification has overpowered us very powerfully. We are hijacked. जैसे होता है ना, hijack कर लेते हैं. We are all hijacked by this host called sense gratification. Everybody, whole world. So, but to come out of this is not so easy. Very, very difficult. Like today's verse, you see, very interesting. कभी कभी होता है ना, लोग बोलते हैं, ओ हमने सेंस पे कंट्रोल कर लिया, ये कर लिया, आई हैव कंट्रोल माय सेंसेस बाय दिस योगा प्रोसेस, दैट योगा प्रोसेस. अगर आप कोई चीज कंट्रोल करना, आप ये करो. टुडे आज कृष्णा बताएंगे, देखो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हाउ इट इज वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट. सो विल रिसाइट द वर्स. यततो हि अपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इंद्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. So, यततो मीन्स यतन करना. हिंदी में जिसको समझ में आता है वो बहुत अच्छे समझ लेंगे. यतन करना, आप जानते हैं, यत्न कर, यत्न मीन्स इंडेवर. यततो ही अपि कौन्तेय, कौन्तेय मीन्स कौन्तेय अर्जुन, अपि मीन्स ऑल्दो, ही मीन्स सर्टेनली, पुरुषस्य विपश्चित, पुरुष मीन्स पर्सन, एक व्यक्ति है जो कि विपश्चिता मीन्स पर्सन, एक व्यक्ति है जो बहुत विपश्चित है. विपश्चित मीन्स ही इज इंटेलिजेंट, वो डिस्क्रिमिनेट कर पाता है क्या गलत है क्या सही है. He is very intelligent and he has got the ability to discriminate the things. तो ऐसे लोग बोलते हैं विपश्चिता. So एक पुरुष है, एक व्यक्ति है जो कि है, जिसके पास क्या क्वालिटी है, विपश्चिता की क्वालिटी. He can discriminate. Now इसमें फर्स्ट लाइन में यततो, और एंडेवर कर रहा है बहुत अच्छे तरीके से. He means certainly very nicely he is endeavoring. But इंद्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि, a person who is man of discrimination, vipaschita, yatato he is endeavoring very nicely. O Arjuna, api means but, although he endeavors very nicely to control his senses, but what happens? Indriyani pramathini, these senses are so powerful, they are mad. Pramathini means actually to control the senses very very difficult. Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham mana, senses are so strong that हरंती, ये जो हर लेता, हरंती मीन्स हरना. प्रसभम मन, मन मीन्स माइंड, प्रसभम मीन्स बाय फोर्स, एक अंदर से एक ऐसा फोर्स आता है कि आपके माइंड को ड्रैग कर लेता है. माइंड गेट्स स्वेप्ट अवे जस्ट लाइक स्ट्रॉन्ग विंड कम्स इन द ओशियन. बहुत भयंकर तूफान आता है, स्टॉर्म कम्स इन द ओशियन एंड इट स्वीप्स अवे the boats, and boats are, topsy turvied and they are scattered in the ocean. A strong wind. In the same way, we feel a strong force in our mind, through our mind, that we get swept away and we happen to indulge into sense gratification. और ये हम लोगों का नहीं बताया जा रहा है इसमें. कृष्णा is not talking about the person who are already indulging into sense gratification. No, they are already, they are falling prey into that. They are already into that. But here Krishna is saying, even those who are trying to control, those who know that yes, I should not do this, they are a vipashchita, they are a person of discrimination. But even their senses are so powerful that many times they fall victim to sense gratification. This is so nicely Krishna has explained. So see the translation. Senses are so strong and impetuous, so Arjuna, that they forcibly, force आता है, force. साइंटिस्ट का नेवर डिफाइन व्हाट इज दैट फोर्स. न्यूक्लियर फोर्स डिफाइन कर लिया हमने, ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स डिफाइन कर लिया, और बहुत सारे फोर्स, वंडर वाल फोर्स डिफाइन कर लिया हमने. बट व्हाट इज दिस फोर्स, नोबडी कैन एक्सप्लेन. ओनली कृष्णा हैज एक्सप्लेन्ड दिस इन भगवद गीता. Force will forcibly carry away the mind even of man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. जो endeavor कर रहा है उसके भी सेंस को चीप कर जाता है. तो ये कृष्णा बता रहे हैं. इसका अंडरस्टैंडिंग बताएंगे कैसे कंट्रोल करना आगे वाले श्लोक में, बट प्रभुपाद ने यहीं पर परपोर्ट में ही बता दिया. तो लेट अस रीड. There are many learned sages, philosophers and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses, but in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material sense enjoyment due to the agitated mind. So बहुत सारे जब हम कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस में आते हैं और समझते हैं कि पर्पस ऑफ लाइफ इज टू सर्व कृष्णा, वी बिलोंग टू कृष्णा, we are not the part of this material world, we belong to Krishna and we have to go back to Krishna, and we should follow four regulative principles of no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit affairs, and then we have to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. Then in the beginning, when we understand this philosophy, because this philosophy attracts us very nicely, we get mesmerized by this kind of philosophy. When we understand this, oh, this is the material world and we belong to spiritual world, and that world is very nice, dynamic world, and that is eternal world, and we have to go back to Krishna, back to Godhead. That is the purpose of life. This is what this world is, a dream world, and this world is not real world. The relatives are not real. Your life is not real. Your career is not real. Everything is dream. Our real life is into the spiritual world. We have to go back to the spiritual world. All these things. In the beginning, when we understand this, we become excited. Oh, this is life. And then we get a purpose. We get a very well-defined goal and purpose in our life. That yes, now I should work, endeavor in such a way that I should go back to Godhead. Now, ये understanding जब आ जाती है, then we start following now the rules and regulations. And the first thing is what Krishna has urged, or any Vedic instruction is there, we should control our mind. And यहाँ पर आके हमें पता चलता है कि अच्छा सेंसस को भी कंट्रोल करना होता है. अदरवाइज नेवर एवर वी आर टॉट दैट सेंस को कंट्रोल भी करना होता है. यही सिखाया गया है कि सेंस को ग्रेटिफाई करो, इंडल्ज हो सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन में. किसी ने नहीं बोला कि जितेंद्रिय बनना है, इंद्रियों को जीतना है, नहीं. बट व्हेन वी कम टू कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, व्हेन वी रीड प्रभुपाद बुक्स, देन वी कम टू दिस अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट सेंस को कंट्रोल करना है. तो जब हम सेंस कंट्रोल करना शुरू करते हैं तब समझ में आता है यार सेंस कंट्रोल कितना डिफिकल्ट है, हाउ पावरफुल इट इज, these senses are, and how difficult and it is kind of insurmountable to control the senses. So that's what Prabhupada is writing. So this is not new thing in today. Kali Yuga, even it is even worse, where sense gratification is so rampant. Everything is available anywhere you go. Everything, all so-called, this politician, Hollywood, Bollywood stars, they have polluted the whole society. Everywhere where there is sense gratification. So what to speak of this, even Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga time also, great learned sages, when after understanding this, they would start following austerities, penances, but even they would also get swayed away by the demands of the senses, the controls of the senses. The same thing Prabhupada is writing. Even the sages, philosophers, transcendentalists, those trying to control the senses, they also fail because of sense enjoyment. So here Prabhupada is giving one example of Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra is very, very powerful, says. Later he became powerful, but in the beginning, when he had started his tapasya austerity, 1000 years he had practiced this austerity of controlling the mind and senses and getting absorbed into Krishna. And 1000 he has practiced. But what happened? One very beautiful Apsara came, that is Menaka Apsara. And Vishwamitra was completely absorbed into his meditation and tapasya, but got attracted by the Menaka, who misled the mind of Vishwamitra, and then finally he indulged into sex, and that's what the result was. Sakuntala was born. Sakuntala, whose son is Bharat, you might be knowing, and in that same descendants, in that same family, these Pandavas they belong. Pandavas are coming there. That's why in Bhagavad Gita you will see many times Krishna says, "Oh descendant of Bharat," means "Oh Bharat." भारत मीन्स भरत, डिसेंडेंट ऑफ भरत, आप भरत के वंशज हैं। तो जो भरत हैं, आप सुने होंगे दुष्यंत के पुत्र भरत, जो कि he used to play with the lions, the babies of the lions. He used to play and he used to be with them because Bharat was very, very powerful Kshatriya from the birth itself. So Bharat was the son of Dushyant and Shakuntala, and Shakuntala was the daughter of Vishwamitra. How? Through this Menaka Apsara. Menaka had come to destroy the austerity of Vishwamitra, and she became successful also. And but she was pregnant, and then she gave birth to Shakuntala, and from there this Pandavas dynasty came. And then Vishwamitra realized I committed a blunder and I should again start practicing my tapasya. Then again he sat for meditation, and then finally he achieved success after performing thousands of years of tapasya. Finally he could control over his senses and became very powerful sage. Vishwamitra was a king. In fact, he was a king. Therefore, that past memories were there, so he got attracted. But later it got purified, and he became fully Krishna conscious. And that's how he became Vishwamitra, Rishi Vishwamitra. So similar instances are there in the history of the world. Therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without. Now here Prabhupada is writing. The solution is here. Therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and the senses without being fully Krishna conscious, without engaging the mind in Krishna. Now we take the example of Prabhupada. Prabhupada, when he went to America, Prabhupada would practically train how to wear saris to young, beautiful American girls of 18, 19 years. Young American girls used to train them how to wear saris. Just you can imagine, foreigners, that too, training them how to wear saris, how to follow all those things, and how to dress with the Indian dressing sense. Because foreigner girls, they are all used to wear all kinds of dirty dressing sense. They have topless, bottomless, exposing their body. But then Prabhupada incorporated that no, Vedic culture is you should wear saris and you should cover your bodies. Your body should not be exposed. So then Prabhupada trained them how to wear even saris to young girls. But Prabhupada was not attracted by them. Prabhupada was always indifferent because Prabhupada was absorbed into Krishna. So these material so-called attraction by which we get carried away, Prabhupada is not influenced by that. Because Prabhupada is absorbed, his consciousness is charmed by the beauty and pastimes of Krishna. He is absorbed into that. Because he has higher taste, so he is not attracted by the lower taste. Similar instance as is quoted by Prabhupada here into the purport of Sri Yamunacharya. He is from South India, Yamunacharya. Earlier he was a great king, but later he became a disciple of Ramanujacharya. Those who are from South India, they can know Ramanujacharya is very powerful, prominent Acharya. Many temples in South India, especially Tamil Nadu, are the temples constructed by Ramanujacharya under the guidance of Ramanujacharya, constructed by great kings like Yamunacharya. And he was a king. So later, when he got attracted by Krishna, then what is his experience? Did a great saint and devotee says, since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor. You see, when we start following Krishna consciousness and start meditating Krishna, start chanting Hare Krishna, then we start getting newer and newer bliss in our life. Material sense gratification is pale. It decreases. In the beginning, it appears very nectar. जब किसी हम sense gratification indulge होते हैं, when we start, it happens mainly with the boys and girls. In the beginning, when they start doing chatting and meeting, in the beginning it is like nectar. They are enjoying, but we all know what happens at the end: fighting and all kinds of blocking the numbers, not seeing even the face, and divorce. Even if they got married, then very quickly they divorce also. But one time that divorce was that today it is divorce, but one time it was peak with love and affection. But now how it got divorced? Because this is the nature of material enjoyment, it deteriorates. But what is the nature of Krishna consciousness? He is Yamunacharya is sharing his experience. Earlier he was a king, so he was used to indulge into all kinds of sexual intercourse because it's king. King has used to have many queens, so he used to have this kind of affairs, indulge into sex and all. But now he's sharing, since my mind is engaged into thinking of the lotus feet of Krishna, I'm enjoying newer and newer transcendental humor. And when I think of sex life with woman, so when that previous thought, because earlier he was king, so sometimes that thoughts used to come. So he's saying when the thought used to come of sex life, when I used to indulge, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. So he spits the thought at the thought. So just see, that is the level of Yamunacharya, and that is the happiness, humor we get when we chant more and more. We develop our attraction towards Krishna. Today you would have seen I shared the photo of Krishna, our Krishna Balram. So beautiful, so nice. Krishna is looking. Krishna is applied a chandan and green color is mixed. And when chandan was applied to the body of Krishna, Krishna is so beautiful. Like this, a devotee, we get attracted sometimes, but pure devotees like Prabhupada, Yamunacharya, they are always attracted by the beauty of Krishna. They know that Krishna's beauty is absolute, that goes on increasing. All their beauties, they decrease. So Krishna consciousness is such a transcendentally nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. यही मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि आपको अलग से endeavor करने की जरूरत नहीं, आप just Krishna consciousness advance होते जाओ बस. You go on advancing, chanting increase करते जाओ, 4 rounds, 8 rounds, 16 round तक आना है, और book reading करो, भगवद गीता समझो अच्छे से, and like this engage into practical services, devotional service जब हम करते हैं तो और ज्यादा realization आता है. Chanting reading से तो आएगा आपको, but when we involve into devotional services like cleaning the temple, washing the pots, washing the plates of Krishna जो आरती करते हैं हम, offering the Lord the bhoga, cooking for the Lord, doing preaching for the Lord, when we preach for Krishna. So like this, when we engage ourselves into service, then we enjoy like anything. So I know at your home that is not, well, that facility is not there. So therefore, when we come to, I invite all of you to the temple. Sometimes you come to the temple. So Manish has come. Earlier Manish used to attend our classes. Now he has come to Jaipur. His brother and he, both brothers are from, they are now into Kharagpur. His younger brother is also in Kharagpur. Both have come here and they are enjoying like anything. Morning getting a 4 o'clock and attending all the programs, chanting, attending the Kirtan and preaching also. I keep sending him to the take classes to the colleges here in Jaipur. So he goes there and preaches nicely, and students are understanding it. So like this, when we engage ourselves into practical services like preaching, coming to the temple and engaging in practical devotional services, cleaning the temple, grooming, mopping, washing, cooking, all this thing, then we enjoy. Then enjoyment, Krishna conscious enjoyment increases. तो यहाँ पर प्रभुपाद बता रहे हैं, बहुत ही अच्छा एनालॉजी दिया है, इसको आप हमेशा याद रख सकते हैं. It is as if, कैसे समझे इसको? As if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by sufficient quantity of nutritious material. तो जो एक भूखा एक गरीब होता है ना, भिखारी होता है, वही कुछ भी मिल जाए खा लेगा. लेकिन जो रिच है, जो खूब खाया, पेट भरा हो, क्या सूखी रूखी चपाती के पीछे भागेगा? Pale, dirty and stale आइटम्स के पीछे भागेगा नहीं. He will not take part into this. He will not even develop desire also because he is nicely fed. So therefore, when we are nicely fed with Krishna consciousness, we will not get attracted by material sense gratification. But that is the highest state. That is not so easy to achieve, but that is the goal. वो goal है हमारा उस stage पर जाना where we are not attracted by any material sense gratification thing, and we are only attracted and captured and captivated by Krishna and nothing else. That is the goal of spiritual life. To achieve that state, it is not so easy. Mind will keep on cheating and taking us here and there. Mind तो ये बोलेगा छोड़ दो, mind बोले क्या चैंटिंग करते हैं ये बेकार, इसमें टेस्ट भी नहीं है, घर वाले बोलेंगे सब बोलेंगे, बट हमें करते जाना. One day that state will come when you enjoy like. So with this I will stop here. If you have any question you can ask. Thank you very much, Hare. Next verse is even more interesting. Next verse we'll discuss more tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Dheeraj, Hare Krishna. How many rounds are you chanting? Now have you increased your number of rounds?
प्रभु जी अभी तो 2 ही करते हैं. हेलो.
हाँ, आवाज ट्रेवलिंग कर रहे हो क्या आप?
नहीं प्रभु जी, हवा चल रही है ऊपर छत में.
अच्छा, कितना वाला चैंट कर रहे हो अभी आप?
प्रभु जी अभी 2 करते हैं.
बहुत बढ़िया. अब इंक्रीज करो. अब तो बहुत हो गया, बहुत दिनों से 2 कर रहे हो आप. नाउ कम टू 4 और 6.
प्रभु जी करेंगे.
चलो ठीक, इंक्रीज करो है ना.
ओके प्रभु.
So I request everyone to increase number of rounds and engage in practical services. Then you will enjoy bhakti. Bhakti का